On today's show, Linus Ullmark was back at Ottawa Senators practice, and with the upcoming schedule, should he be getting ready to go on a run of games?
And we have an interview with Sens prospect playing with the London Knights. It's Blake Montgomery.
This is Brady Tkachuk, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast.
You're Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome. You are locked on to the Ottawa Senators, the only daily podcast covering the Sens. On the outskirts of enemy territory, I'm Ross Levitan, alongside Brandon Piller up in the Blue Mountains. Today is Thursday, February 20th, and Pilsy, just 2 more days until the return of Sens hockey.
Woo! I'm excited. It feels like this is the start of a new season, kind of. I know it hasn't been that long since Sens hockey, but it's been long enough where, well, and it doesn't help that their last couple of games I've blocked out of my memory, but it feels like forever ago since we saw the Ottawa Senators play hockey. So I'm fired up. Let's go. Let's get to the weekend. Although there is one game I'm kind of excited about before that too.
And we'll do a brief preview at the end of today's show on the Four Nations Championship game tonight between Canada and the United States. It's Brady Tkachuk and Jake Sanderson for Team USA against Dom Nicoletta and Johnny Forget, the behind-the-scenes equipment and athletic therapist for Team Canada. And honestly, I'm kind of happy that Dom Nicoletta is there because do you think that there's that divide, obviously, between Canada and US? But if Brady Tkachuk's hurt, Dom Nicoletta should at least be in the picture of figuring out, is he all right?
Yeah, well, I mean, if there's anyone I want attending to Brady, it's him. So, yeah, I'm down for that.
I would honestly, if I was Michael Andlauer, I would immediately have been on the phone and be like, Dom, you better go see Brady right now.
Yeah. I mean, the report is that Brady's out with an illness, not an injury. Now,
what is it, the post-illness?
Yeah, I don't know. How accurate is that? I don't know. Or is that Team USA trying to do a smoke screen so that players don't target Brady physically to try to, get at those bumps or bruises or whatever feeling he has? But that's what the report is. So, I mean, it's a lot easier for him to get through an illness than it is getting through some sort of lower or middle body injury.
So the thing with Brady Tkachuk is that he's tough as nails. Everybody knows that. And if you go back to the COVID season, the 56-game season, Pilsy, how many games do you think Brady Tkachuk has missed since then?
Oh, I mean, hardly any. Like the only games I can think of him missing were when he wasn't signed for 4 games to start that season, 3. So I'll say 5 total.
The answer is, other than those 3 games, he's missed 1 with injury last year.
Yeah.
1 game. He's played all 56 this year, 81 out of 82 the year before, and all 82 the year before that. 79, of course, the year where he signed his contract right after the season started. This guy is the picture of Iron Man in the National Hockey League. Iron Man, no pun intended. I know he smoked himself against Iron and had to leave the game last game.
And it's not like he's one of those guys that avoids physical confrontation too, right? Like some of those guys you can see like, okay, well, they're able to skirt their way through without getting too physical.
Phil Kessel.
Opposite of that. Yeah, I mean, Phil Kessel definitely Keith. Yeah, well, I mean, Keith Yandel wasn't that physical either, so I guess that counts for him too.
But at least he was a defenseman, so he's blocking shots.
Yeah, sometimes. And he had that insane thing where puck hit him in the mouth, and he was playing through dental surgery and stuff. So I'm not trying to say he's not a tough guy.
Brady played through dental,
and he scored the game winner. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Brady Tkachuk, just an absolute legend, and I can't wait, Ross. As great as this Four Nations tournament has been, it's tough watching him play on a team you're not cheering for. So I'm excited to move past that.
Yeah, still smoking the over on his shots on goal every single game.
In a minute and a half, he hit the 3-shot over. So get to FanDuel and make sure you're getting in on that for sure.
Brady Tkachuk and Jake Sanderson, the only Senators players that have not returned from Four Nations. Nicholas Matinpalo, Linus Ullmark, both back at practice on Wednesday. And for Linus Ullmark, he looked like there was no restrictions. We know he missed the last possible game for Team Sweden with an illness. It seems like something was going around at the Four Nations, but great to see Linus Ullmark back. And he did get those 2 games in before going to the Four Nations. So this season, he's 12, 9, with a 2.49 goals against average and a 915 save percentage. He's got 3 shutouts, which is tied for the team lead with Levitan. He leads the team in goalie points with that 1 assist he got on the overtime goal. We were just talking about that game. Brady Tkachuk scoring it, Linus Ullmark with the assist, and the photo is from that game. Unreal Selly there. But this begs the question, how heavy should the Senators be riding their number 1 goalie down the stretch? We know there's 26 games left, that 16 are at home, but looking at the upcoming schedule, Pilsy, there's no back-to-backs until March 10th and 11th. How often should Linus Ullmark be playing? Should you ease him in? Or do you understand that there's 6 teams that are within striking distance of your spot in the playoffs and you got to play him every night?
So I got an idea of what I'm going to answer. But first, I want to just mention that obviously that 3-game losing streak up against 2 games in Tampa and then 1 in Florida was not great. But Linus Ullmark had his guy. The 4-3 game, the game I was at, he stopped 34 of 37 shots, a 919 save percentage. And then the Florida game, sure, ugly one. He lets 4 goals in, but it was on 47 shots. He still finished that with a 915 save percentage. So it's not like coming into the break, he wasn't up to speed and getting back into games. It wasn't going for him, because it was. So I just want to point that out. And then playing a couple games in the 4 Nations, like he's back into midseason form now. Do you want to pull up the schedule and we'll go game by game here, or how do you want to do this?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, because things are starting out on Saturday against Montreal, and it just feels like he's got to play that game, right? Like, we're starting out with our number 1 goalie, please.
Yes, sir. And he's got to redeem himself from the game up against Montreal at the start of the year was not a great one for him. So I'd like to see some redemption there. So 100% no-brainer. Linus Ullmark starts that game up against the Montreal Canadiens. And then up against the Jets, I'll be boots on the ground. I want to see Linus Ullmark start that game too. So let's do that one. And then,
I mean, you get 3 days off between like, he's got to start both those games.
Exactly, yeah. And then you get a couple days off for the next game, Ross. We'll both be boots on the ground. March 1st up against the San Jose Sharks. Get another start for Linus Ullmark. Roll the screen. Let's move on.
Well, let's just talk about how some might say, hey, it's the Sharks. Don't worry, you don't need them. Let's remind everybody that they needed every bit of Linus Ullmark to beat the Sharks in San Jose earlier this year. What'd they get outshot in that game? 39-13 or something?
Yeah, and this team has not been able to beat up on the Sharks like we want in recent history. So, and it's also Hamburglar night. So let's get a good goalie out there and have a good goalie performance.
I like that. So, okay, so he's starting the next 3 games, according to you. Then we move on March 3rd in Washington.
This is a big game, possibly, Ross. If the Ottawa Senators are the final wildcard spot, this would be your playoff opponent, as the Capitals lead the Eastern Conference. So I want Linus Ullmark starting that game as well.
And it's also the rubber match. Each team has 1 win up against each other. This is the season finale.
Yep. So there's another one. So 4 for 4 for Linus Ullmark starts.
Okay. I like where you're going. Now in Chicago on March 5th, Pilsy, this is almost like the 3-year anniversary of you going to that game. It was early March. It might've been the same day.
It was. Yeah. That's why I gave a shiver there, Ross. This is where I give Anton Forsberg the start. I give Linus a break here because this is a Western Conference team. Now, I know obviously the San Jose Sharks and Jets are as well, but circumstances made it make sense, and you want to get Linus into a groove there. But I feel like after 4 straight starts, give him a bit of a break here. And Ross, I talked about it. Anton Forsberg is a guy that I think the Ottawa Senators need to move on from, and the Chicago Blackhawks were the team I targeted. They have $16 million in cap space, and right now their goalies are Peter Mrazek and Arvid Soderblom and Laurent Brossoit, but he's on IR. So if they want to get another veteran in there and maybe have Soderblom go to the AHL and get more starts, that's something they could do. So give Forsberg a bit of a showcase here up against the Chicago Blackhawks, in my opinion.
I was going to ask you what team Anton Forsberg's starting in that game.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question too. Who knows? Maybe a hallway trade. The Sens haven't done a hallway trade in a while. They were good for those for a couple trades in a row.
The Vancouver one, the Mike McKenna one famously, and then Matt Duchene.
Yep, Matt Duchene to Columbus, but also a almost hallway trade because they acquired him from Colorado, and sure, it's in a different continent in Sweden, so that's a long hallway to cross the Atlantic Ocean, known as the biggest hallway in the world. But his next game was up against the Colorado Avalanche, so that was a funny one there too.
And then I'd imagine you're starting Linus Ullmark March 8th against the New York Rangers, matinee in Ottawa.
Yes, yep. Get Ullmark starting there as well. And let's not forget, we're going to remind the people, go to FanDuel and get your Claude Giroux props bets in for that one, as he likes the afternoon games. And then I would even, it's tough though, because at that point, then you're only getting 1 day off before you're playing the Detroit Red Wings, the first game of that back-to-back. But both those games are in Ottawa, so no travel. But you want Linus playing up against the Red Wings. That's the important matchup. So I'd probably start him there too, and then give Forsey or other goalies, because the trade deadline will have passed at that point, the start up against the Philadelphia Flyers, which is a travel day. So that one, Ross, I really don't want to hear the argument to start Linus in both of those games, because that would be too much.
No, I agree. With travel, I'm on board with you for that one there. So that is us mapping out Linus Ullmark starts up until and a bit past.
Do you agree with all those, Ross? I didn't hear any pushback.
I do. The only thing is that it depends where the standings are at. If you really need that Chicago win, maybe you start him in that game and then give Forsey or other the game on Saturday afternoon against the New York Rangers.
Oh,
I know.
No, you got the Ranger game is more important, and it's at home.
If Linus Ullmark can play and is healthy, he would start probably 21 out of the last 26 games.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to be on board with that, Ross, but I don't know if you can push him that hard.
I know.
That's all.
I know. Alfie, do you think Linus can start all those games?
Probably not.
We're going to hope anyways there, Alfie. Classic. All right, on the other side, this interview is awesome.
Yep.
What'd you think going into it, and did he impress you?
Yeah, no, Blake is an awesome guy. Kind of what I figured from him, a true hockey guy from a hockey family. So we get a lot of info in this interview. Like we covered it all. So if you want to learn about Blake Montgomery, these 19 minutes, you're going to learn it all.
You're listening to Locked On Senators, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Wonderful Pistachio. Are you looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Check and check. Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help you feel full longer. I love the salt and pepper flavor. It's easily my go-to flavor. Look for the purple bag. That's the color of that one. Or if you want to, get no time wasted, cracking open those shells, they have the no shells variety where it's just all pistachios. It's the perfect grab and go snack for busy days. Whether you're snacking at your desk like Ross loves to do while we're doing the pod, having a couple pistachios, need a quick protein boost, or you're on a road trip, maybe on my road trip to Ottawa, I'll pack some pistachios for the way. They're always my go-to. That's why Wonderful Pistachios is our favorite pistachio. So get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more.
All right, we now welcome a very, very special guest, the recent 4th-round pick of your Ottawa Senators in the 2024 draft. This 6'4" winger moved to the OHL midseason, where he's done nothing but impress, accumulating 44 points in 36 games. Blake Montgomery, welcome to Locked On Sens. How's it going today, man?
Good. Everything's good. Thanks for the warm welcome.
Well, I almost didn't say your point totals because I figured by tomorrow you might have 5 more. It's been a pretty smooth transition, eh?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been great.
So I noticed the first 5 games, just 1 point, and then since then it's really come natural. Was there a bit of an adjustment moving from the USHL to London?
Oh, absolutely. It's a completely different, game style and play style from, the pace and just how the game's played in general. So it took me a little bit to get adjusted, used to the new teammates, and what works and what doesn't. And then once I kind of, got used to it and got a few plays to go through and, gain some confidence, I feel like it's been smooth sailing since then.
Yeah, I want to talk about the decision to make that move, Blake, because you look at guys that make a move like that, and usually you're like, it wasn't really working out for them in their old spot. But that's not the case for you at all with the Lincoln Stars this season. In 10 games, you had 10 points. You're at a point per game clip, and you decide to make the change to go to the OHL and go to the London Knights. Tell us about what went into that decision.
It was more so, I loved Lincoln. It's just I felt like I was getting the best out of me in the circumstances of what was going on there. And, I felt like, I didn't go back for what I was getting there. So I thought, that wasn't best for my development. And I was looking for a move. And, it's funny because I wasn't actually even, thinking about London before. Like, I was actually just looking to get out of there. And then it was all just perfect timing in the sense of how that worked out, too. So.
And the timing too, where the OHL eliminated that rule where once you come up, you can still go to college. I know I don't want to make you look ahead too far, but is the plan still to head to Wisconsin next year?
Yes, that is the plan for this coming up fall.
Okay, well, that's wild because looking through your elite prospects, you've never played for the same team 2 full years in a row.
It's crazy. It is crazy.
So you're just moving all over the place.
Get used to it.
You're just going where the opportunity is, eh? Was your brother
Yeah.
in your ear though about London, where he's had the experience obviously to be a London Knight in the past? Was he a big driving force of that decision?
Well, I wouldn't say in the decision, but absolutely from when he found out I was coming here, he was very excited. He was telling me all about it. I actually got his old billet, so we have the same billet. So
Nice.
he was just giving me the whole layout about everything, but he's pumped. And
That's
then
awesome.
assuming he's also planning on coming out sometime too, if he can.
Nice. Well, yeah, he's busy doing his own thing too
Yeah,
in pro
exactly.
hockey. How much older is he than you?
2.5 years.
Okay, nice. So is he the guy? I know that your grandfather was a Div 3 All-American, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, my
Back
dad.
in the day. Your dad, right?
Yeah,
There you
oh
go.
yeah.
So
He
hockey's in the blood, eh? Since a
Mhm.
young age. What made you fall in love with the game when you were a kid?
Just growing up, playing it, being around it all the time. My dad, he got us in power skating all the time, and my daddy's also a big fan of you guys too. So
Oh,
shout out to
nice.
him.
Hell
And
yeah.
then, but we would always be around Kettler, the Capitals practice rink. So I would watch OV all the time, just growing up and stuff. So it was really cool, and just I wanted to be like that, and it's just something I wanted to do since a young age.
So is there any truth that you left the USHL because you knew that you'd never touch Stephen Halliday's record in points?
No way, no way.
But you guys had a bit of a relationship going back. Is he buddies with your brother? Is that true?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We've known each other forever. I mean, he goes way back. He played with my brother, I think, when they were maybe 13, maybe a little younger. But yeah, I've seen him forever now.
Would you call him a disher?
Oh, absolutely. He's
Yeah,
looking more like a finisher now these days, though.
dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people are saying.
Are you surprised at all that he's been able to jump into pro hockey, man, and not skip a beat?
Oh, not at all. A guy like him, I always knew once he got his opportunity, he wouldn't mess it up, and he's certainly taking advantage of it.
Yeah,
Stud.
we love Stephen Halliday on this show.
Mhm.
I want to go back to you and your brother though. I feel like that's always a classic brother situation when you're growing up. Was he the kind of big brother that would never take it easy on you? And I'm sure he always had the size on you and would always make you work extra hard. Or did you feel like he would let up on you sometimes to let you
Oh
score
no,
when
no,
you were
not at
there?
all. He was hard. He was hard. In the sense he would say like he would be working out and he'd see me not working out or something. He'd give it to me, like call me a lazy, what, and all that kind of stuff. So he was always on my butt about kind of anything too. So it was good in that sense because sometimes you need the extra little push every now and then. But it's how you learn to get it on your own.
Well, you've had quite the path yourself, man. Passed over in the 2023 draft. Was that a surprise for you? Were you hoping to get picked, obviously, but did you think it was a realistic scenario where you would have been picked last year?
Oh no, I knew I didn't have the year to go. I talked to two teams, maybe if that, and I just knew I was already just looking towards the next year, getting prepared for that.
Was Ottawa one of the two teams?
No, actually.
Okay,
No.
well, there you go. Well, they certainly found something they liked about you.
Oh
What
yeah.
was the lead up into the 2024 draft? How many teams did you talk to after last year? And was Ottawa a team you knew was interested?
I'd say yes. Yes and no. I talked to about I think 20 or 23 teams about, so good bit. And then Ottawa, actually, I didn't talk to them till about a week or two before the draft on a Zoom call. And then that was the first time I talked to them all year. So, and then yeah, sure enough, they picked me.
What was your vibe like after you talked to them? Was it kind of like, hey, I think there might be something here? Did you get a good feeling or?
It was mixed feelings because it was pretty like serious kind of Zoom call. Like he was kind of like I don't want to say ripping, but like a little more like aggressive almost. Like
Okay.
really picked my brain almost. So I was like I couldn't tell if he liked me or not. Like he almost seemed mad at me, but I'm sure he just was showing how real more interested they were in that sense.
That's awesome. Who was on that call? Was it Steos or the
Yeah.
scouts or
Like
everybody?
a lot of there were 5 or 6 guys. Boyd, Dan, a few other guys too.
So take us through your decision, because there was some amazing news clippings coming out after the draft in Bermuda where you were for the draft. Your mom's side of the family's all from there. Take us into the decision to just get away, not go to Vegas. Don't worry, we had enough fun for all of us in Vegas last June, but the decision to go down to Bermuda and just be with your family at that time.
Yeah. It was my second draft year, obviously. So how I looked at it, I was like, I could have went with my year or whatnot. It's younger, but that's at the same time that doesn't matter. But for me, it was just I wanted to be with family, and just be comfortable and not have the stress of being at the draft and not knowing what's happening and all that stuff. And sure enough, it was really nice. It was calm. It was beautiful. Weather was great. We were eating good food, and honestly, like it almost flew by up to the fourth round. I was like, oh wow, I think I'm I should be coming up. And then funny enough, like since I was in Bermuda, the service was a little delayed, so we were about 3 or 4 picks behind. So I'm watching like around 117 or no 113, and then my phone starts blowing up. So I'm like, oh boy, oh boy. I didn't want to look at it or anything, and I'm tapping my mom and brother. I'm like, oh, I think I'm about to go. And then it was like Nashville or something, then Ottawa, and then I saw my name, and just everyone went crazy, and I just couldn't believe what was happening.
Oh man, that's awesome. That must be all-time moment for you. Do you spend a lot of time in Bermuda, or was this kind of like a true vacation where you're like I just want to get away, or is it kind of you were gonna go there
My
anyways?
mom's born and raised from Bermuda, so she moved back about 4 years ago, and then we try to go every summer, and
Cool.
whenever chance we can get.
That's
So
gonna be
that's where
hot in the
those
summer. Oh
Oh
that's
yeah,
where
man.
those downloads from Bermuda are coming. She's got to like the show too.
oh yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome, man. So you go in the draft, you have to get your hockey gear and get to Ottawa right away. What was the
Yeah.
whirlwind like heading to development camp, and how quick that turnaround is?
Oh, I was expecting that too, and I just didn't. It didn't, realize how quick it really was, because it's like that, a team picks you and you're in their building. So next day, got on a flight. It was an okay travel day. I got in pretty late into Ottawa, and then the chauffeur to the hotel, and then beautiful hotel. They
The Brook
hooked the guys
Street?
up there. Oh yeah, I think so.
Oh yeah.
I'm not fully sure, but it's sweet in there. And then
That's
yeah, I mean it was amazing getting to Ottawa, getting to see the city, and then I actually got to see more of Ottawa when I played the 67s this season than I did at camp, which was good to see too. But
yeah, sick town, eh?
oh yeah,
Underrated,
it's
we always say, man.
yeah, it's my kind of speed. Seems chill.
Hey,
Super chill.
I'm sure Oliver Bonk has told you all about Ottawa.
Oh
That's a
yeah,
good Ottawa boy right there.
yeah, he sure has.
How much does he love Ottawa?
Oh yeah, oh he was pumped when we went back to play there for his last time going there for the home game.
That's so sick, man. Yeah, his dad's a legend in
Mhm.
Ottawa, by the way. Like one of the first picks ever for franchise history, and had a lot of successful years there. Now, Blake, speaking of which, at Dev Camp, you get to Ottawa. And first off, did you bring your gear to Bermuda as well, or do you have to
Yeah,
go pick that up?
yeah, I did.
What, were you getting any looks at the airport? Like, what's this guy doing?
They know us by now, but like when we were younger, yeah, they're looking at us very odd. Like, what are you doing with hockey gear here?
That's so good, man.
Is there
So
rinks
go ahead.
there? Like you're actually getting
It's
ice?
just a roller rink, no ice rinks.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
So are you a good roller hockey player too?
I actually no, I've never actually played in a real game. I've just
No.
kind of messed around out there, but nothing competitive.
Okay. So your experience in Ottawa, then you get there, the hotel's nice, city's nice. They obviously have you on a pretty strict schedule. You're going here, you're going there. But what was the whole experience like, and what stood out to you? Whether it was meeting one of the pros that was just around the rink, or the coaching, or whatever stood out to you at Dev Camp.
Mainly just how I'd say everyone was treated there, from like the staff, like top to bottom, like people cleaning the rink or just like anyone there. Like they were getting treated with utmost respect. They were getting same benefits as us almost and all that kind of stuff. And then meeting a player, I met Ullmark, and he was one of the nicest guys I've ever met. Like you would have never expected him to be like, the type of guy he is, and where he's at in his life. And he came up to me and introduced himself, and I was like, I know who you are.
You got a Vezina trophy in that case, brother.
Yeah, but yeah, just kind of I feel like that kind of comes with like Canada and compared to like America too, just all around, just how people are treated. It's just comfortable and nice.
And it's pretty cool too, because I mean, Ullmark had just been traded there a week
Yeah.
before, so he
Exactly.
probably felt like he was the new guy, and you're like, no, dude, you're two days senior here than me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I love it. So on the ice, then, was it kind of what you expected at Dev Camp, where it's guys coming from all over? It's obviously the middle of the summer. Did you have any relationships? Obviously, Stephen Halliday, but did you know anybody else who was at that camp?
Yeah, I know Cam O'Neill, and then kind of Van Tassel, but just kind of got to know everyone at camp pretty quick. I'm a pretty sociable guy. I feel like I get along with most people. And then but the main thing is like I feel like the pace, like there's a different pace, to the practice, which was new for me, coming from the USHL and just seeing guys, some guys played pro, some guys in college, and it's just different. And it was cool to see that and open my eyes. I was like, oh, like still way more to it. Just getting drafted, it's just tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, getting drafted is just the beginning. That's got to be
Yeah.
so cool going to Dev Camp and getting to meet all sorts of players from like some of these guys are playing in Europe, like
Yeah.
OHL, WHL, all those kinds of things. So when you're out on the ice, who was maybe a player that you had no clue about and you saw their game and you're like, damn, this guy's a player?
Is it Peterson or Pedersen? Oscar
Pedersen.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a friend of the show. Good
We
kid.
call him Pistol Pete. Pew
Pistol
pew.
Pete. Yeah. Yeah, he's got a motor on him. He can just keep going. He was on my team for the 3v3 tournament, and it seemed like he just never got tired.
He's an awesome dude too. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're big fans of him. He's like a little Patrick Hornquist in him, eh? He's just got the motor and he's just
Yep.
wheeling all day. So
Just a dog.
we love to see that. What was it like going up against the towers on the back end? It felt like in the draft, everyone had to be 6'4" to ride the roller coaster.
It was crazy. I felt small out there, and I'm not supposed to feel small out there. Everyone out there seemed to be a giant.
Well, we just chatted with Gabe Eliasson earlier
Big
this week.
Swedish defenseman.
I just played him last week.
Yeah. Did you eat a couple cross checks?
Oh no, I think he went easy on me when he saw it was me covered in.
He's hilarious though out on the ice, eh? He's not afraid to go at anybody.
Oh man, it's scary. He could have put me over the boards at one point. He didn't.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
You're lucky, Dan.
What's the expectations for London? Memorial Cup or bust?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's why they brought me along. They made that very clear. That's what I'm here to be a part of, and that's what we're hoping to do.
So you mentioned Oliver Bonk. Obviously, he was one of many London Knights who headed to the World Juniors. Was that a moment for you where with those guys, Easton Cowan and so on and so forth out of the lineup, that you were able to really get your feet under you, play more minutes and show what you could do at this level?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they start playing me in way more situations typically, guys like that would have been in. And then, you have to step up in those situations because, those are still points on the table. You still got to play games, and we needed those wins. And I was glad and just fortunate to get hot when I did and, produce during that stretch as much as I did, and it was good
As
for the
much as you
team.
did, bro. Didn't you have a point streak the entire time?
Yeah.
Good hot streak.
Yeah, decent. That'll do.
Yeah,
Final question from me, Blake. This has been awesome, man. We got to get you back on the show. You got great energy, great vibes, and we appreciate the hell out of you for doing this.
Thank you.
How much NHL hockey you watch? Are you dialed in, or are you
all
just
the time?
focused on all the time?
All the time.
Okay, what's your take on the Sens top players? Like, who's your guy that you watch and you're like, hell yeah, I want to be his teammate one day?
Stutzel, obviously, when he's out there, you got to watch him every time. But another guy is North. Just like, I don't want to say simple, but like I feel like that is a word you can use. Just efficient, just everything right. He's in the good spots a lot of the times. And then another guy is Pinto, but he's hurt. But Pinto, I like his game too.
Dude, there's a wild
College
stat.
player.
Yeah, of course. No, well, we call them the Nodak Sens. We got we got a long list of them. At one point, there were 4 guys on North Dakota.
There is now.
Yeah. Jake. Well, now they all play for Ottawa.
Sanderson, yeah.
Sanderson, Clevin, Pinto, and Jacob Bernard Docker, all at the same time. We're at Nodak, and it was during the COVID pause. So we're like, okay, we got to follow. We're doing this show every day, so we're locked on Nodak Sens at that point in time. But we can't say that too loud because I think that geographically, you might be a bit of a rival there with Wisconsin.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. It's gonna be fun. Can't wait to play those schools.
Has that always been something that's been a dream of yours to play college hockey?
Yes, as you know, an American, it's just kind of the mindset you grow up in around, going to prep school and stuff, and it's just it's something you want to do.
Hell yeah.
That's awesome. We're excited to see you at University of Wisconsin next season. I got 2 final questions.
Whoa.
First, sticking on the rivalries, we talked about maybe a rivalry you'll have in college. Who would you say the biggest rivalry for the London Knights is? I'm always interested to hear how the OHL stacks each other up against each other.
Yeah, because it's funny because it seems like we're rivals with every team we play.
Yeah, you guys are the top dogs. So.
Yeah,
everybody's bringing their best.
I'm gonna have to go with Kitchener. I'm gonna have to go with the Kitchener.
That's what I
games.
figured.
I feel like though the atmosphere at those games it feels the most like a playoff game.
And then Sens prospects over there too, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Alonis, Antonovsky.
Yep.
And then a hard second is Windsor. Those games are also very, very tough too.
Nice. Okay.
Go ahead. I was going to ask if Antonovsky's tried to put you through the boards too. I mean,
he has once actually. He got me good once. Just pinched me good behind the net.
Oh man.
And then final question for me is looking at your stats, you're pretty consistent in both the goal category and assist category. Would you consider yourself a disher or a sniper?
I don't know if I can take one over the other. I feel like I just kind of take what's there.
Because you might have gotten the hint from it earlier with Stephen Halliday. When we had him on for the first ever time, Pillsy goes, well, you're not much of a disher. Like, you're more of a shooter. And he's like, bro, I led the USHL in assists last year.
What do you mean? I'm not assists at that time.
Steve-O's definitely a disher.
That's on me. That's my bad. So now I like to ask the players first.
Yeah.
So
You're learning.
I think I just always take what's there. If shoot. Someone's open, give it to them.
Do you think you're soft, though? What do you have, 3 penalties so far this year?
Yeah, I wouldn't say soft. Definitely got to get in the mix more, though.
Okay, we're looking for you to get some more PIMs, okay? Points are cool,
let's
but PIMs are sweet.
Can't promise that.
Oh, man, we'll be following along, man. Keep it up. You're doing a hell of a job down in London, and we're going to be following your career, and can't wait till one day you're putting on an Ottawa Senators jersey. So thanks for doing this, Blake. We'll look forward to chatting with you down the road, too.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, Pillsy. Big thanks to Blake Montgomery for joining us. Really fun conversation with him. I see a future friend of the show on the horizon with that absolute beauty. Pillsy, it is Championship Thursday. Canada versus the United States. We already covered the Brady Tkachuk storyline. Sens fans will be very curious about that. But who is your X factor for this game on both sides?
Well, Ross, I won't take yours for Team Canada because I know where you're going to go there. I mean, for Team Canada, it's actually an easy decision for me. It's Jordan Binnington. Look, this guy is capable of having big games. Everybody's talking about it. He's had a big game in Boston before, Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. But this tournament, he's had too many goals where it's just been clean looks that have beaten him, and you can't have that in a game like this, especially with the shooters that Team USA has. Like Austin Matthews has pretty much been stifled this entire tournament. You got to think he's going to come out firing in this one. Jake Gensel, he's had success in this tournament. He had one of those easy goals up against Binnington. So for Canada, I'm going to go with Jordan Binnington. I think he's going to decide this game for both teams.
Yeah, I think that's a really good call. I'm going to stay away from the goalies because you could say the same about Connor Hellebuck. He just instills a little more confidence with his play.
But he's more consistent, right? Like that's right. The thing. Whereas Binnington, it's up or down. But I mean, I guess you can't really say that because Hellebuck in playoffs is not the same guy. So
yeah, I mean, he's had the unfortunate circumstance of going up against Colorado and Vegas in the last 2 first rounds.
Team Canada, kind of a big deal team as well.
Yeah, I mean, Winnipeg's decor is pretty good, but they ain't like the Americans. But obviously, Charlie McAvoy's absence will be felt. And you could easily say Connor McDavid just because of that. But I'm going to look to Connor McDavid's right wing. And Team Canada has switched up their lines for this tournament now. They did it midway through last game. And I think Mark Stone's going to decide this game for Team Canada.
Okay. All right. I thought you were going Brandon Hagel for sure. You're number one Brandon Hagel fan.
No, dude. I'm going Mark Stone. I mean, this guy had a hat trick in the Stanley Cup clinching game. We know how good he is defensively. And one thing I mentioned this on Locked On NHL, like I'm almost a little nervous that Team Canada brought a double IHF roster to an NHL tournament. Like they have so much speed, finesse, skill. But I'm nervous that they're not going to get in on the U.S. decor and forecheck and make sure that F1 is just punishing every U.S. defenseman that goes back to get the puck. There's no Zach Hyman. There's no Tom Wilson, just to name a couple of guys. But they do have like Marner, Reinhart, Hagel, and Jarvis and Marchand. Marchand and Jarvis play a little harder, but it's just like they're smaller guys in stature. I'm looking at Mark Stone as the F1 on this team, the guy who's going to get the puck and give it to McDavid in the right spots. And obviously, you could easily say McDavid and McKinnon. Like they're going to be the offensive flair that can get you a victory. And the power play is going to be huge with Cale Makar coming back. That's going to have to be, I think they went 0 for, they obviously did because they only scored the 1 goal against the States. They can't go 0 for on the power play. And having Makar back there, no disrespect to Josh Morrissey, who's going to be on the second unit now, quarterbacking there. But the puck movement with Makar on the quarterback position there is going to be so paramount to winning this game. So the easy answer would be Makar, McKinnon, McDavid, 3 of the top, 5 best players in the world, being generous. I think Mark Stone could be the most impactful player in this game for Team Canada.
Okay, I like it. Off to the Americans. I'm going to go Matthew Tkachuk. He was not able to finish his last game. Not sure if it was an ankle issue or what it was, but he was skating. He was practicing with the team, and all signs point to him playing. We're recording this Wednesday evening, 4:20 Eastern right now. So we'll see if that stays the same. But I just think, obviously, he's a tone setter. He had the first fight in that game up against Brandon Hagel. Last time Team Canada and US played, and he had 3 shots on goal in that game as well. So he's making it happen. He had a lot of success in the first game along with Brady, 2 goals, 1 assist for him in that first game. He had 8 shots in that one. But I also feel like he's a bit of a leader of this team. We saw there's kind of a back and forth going in the media where Brandon Hagel is like, we're not getting cute with it with these group chats and flaring things up for the camera. We're just playing our game. And then Matthew Tkachuk kind of fired back being like, well, I mean, sorry, we're friends and we're in a group chat at Team USA. We all got good camaraderie together. Maybe they don't have that in Team Canada. And he's a showman. That's who he is. And I think the way he's going to set the tone for this Team USA is kind of going to have a big impact on how they play their game. So I'm going to go Matthew Tkachuk for me.
Yeah, very good call. Part of me wants to go with Jacob Slavin because he's going to be, I'm sure, tasked with the challenge of going up against Connor McDavid, shift in, shift out. But I'm going to go up against the centerman who's always been in McDavid's shadow, and that's Jack Eichel. Jack Eichel has had a much better tournament than Austin Matthews. Yep. He was a +2 in a 2-1 win against Canada. He's got only assists this tournament, 4 in 3 games, no goals yet, but second overall to McDavid's first overall. He's got the ability that he's been in these big games, much like Mark Stone. So I'm going with 2 Vegas Golden Knights, I guess, as my X factors in this game. But Jack Eichel did a phenomenal job in the first matchup. He had both Kachucks on his wing, and he's a dangerous, dangerous player. So I'll go with Jack Eichel for Team USA as a guy that Canada has to be aware of every time he's on the ice.
Yeah, that's a good one. Sidney Crosby, when asked if you could pick one player from Team USA to pluck from their team and put on yours, his answer was Eichel. So, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of respect there. And Sens fans know, maybe better than anyone, how good of a player Eichel is he's a killer whenever he plays the Sens, even back in his days with the Buffalo Sabres.
You're well said. What's your prediction for the game tonight?
It's got to go to OT. I like whether that's like Canada losing a lead or making a comeback, and it makes it nervous. I mean, I think all Canadians would rather just pump them 5-0, whatever. But I want this game to go to OT so badly, a little bit selfishly, because I won't get to watch the game till later on. So if we can extend it, that'd be nice for me. But these two teams battling in overtime, it would take you back to the golden goal, and maybe Sidney Crosby could bury it again. That would be awesome. But I'm going to go 4-3 Canada overtime win. Let's go.
I'm going to say 1-1 going into the third period.
Ooh.
Canada wins 3-1 on an empty net, just like US beat them 3-1 with an empty net.
Okay, I like it. I
love the under in this game. I love the under.
See, I mean, life's too short to bet the under, so I'll go the other way. But I just think, unfortunately, I think Bennington's going to have a squeaker or two, and Canada's going to have to do a full court press to make up for that, and then it's going to come right down to the wire. So we'll see.
I'm excited for this game. I really am. But we're also counting down just 48 hours until the Sens and Habs meet in a one-anthem game on a Saturday night in the nation's capital. So stick with us for a full game weekend preview tomorrow on Locked On Senators. Hope you enjoyed our chat with Blake Montgomery. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan. Thank you for liking, watching, listening, and engaging with the show. Please leave a 5-star review everywhere you get podcasts. It means a lot to us as we continue to drive through the final 26 games of the season. The postcast returns on Saturday. Can't wait for that. This has been another edition of the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.